Hello, everyone. I've got Basti on the chat today.
Good morning, everyone.
Looking after you on the chat. Yeah, welcome to the Wednesday class. Basti will be there. Hi, Liz. First person to post on the chat. Please post, tell us where you're from. So today, I know we've got quite a few new people on the Wednesday class, so I thought it'd be a good time to spend a few minutes just checking out the polyvagal state of our nervous system. This is something we've been tracking right since the beginning of the pandemic. And just to remind you, this is our Wednesday class. We're getting up towards 100 classes, by the way, everyone. So that's amazing. That's going to be an amazing milestone in itself, isn't it? We're going to keep track of that. I think we're up to about 90 something now. So anyway, yes, if you can, those of you who've been coming for a long time will remember the polyvagal chart, this polyvagal chart. Just to remind you, we're going round the meridian clock this year, and at the moment we're at lung between 3 and 5 a.m. The time that is a really good time to do your breathing exercises. That's why in China they're all out there doing their Tai Chi between 3 and 5 in the morning. Wouldn't suggest you do that in England in the winter though. It's way too dark, but you get the idea. But one of the things we've been tracking over the whole pandemic, over the 90 or so Wednesday classes that we've done, is where you are in terms of your nervous system arousal. And what we've been trying to do is we're going to trying to help you get into that green zone, that social engagement zone, as much as possible. That's where you feel in the present, grounded, joyful, curious, compassionate, mindful. That's when your nervous system is nicely regulated. And that's very difficult in the pandemic, especially during the lockdown, because we rely on social interaction as mammals, not just humans, but humans especially rely on social interaction to moderate our own nervous system. So what we found is a lot of the time, a lot of us have been up in that red zone, into the fight and flight zone. And it's understandable because that's what the nervous system does. It's there to help us get out of danger. Of course, the trouble is, though, is that if we're locked down or we go out and all we see is people with masks, we don't get a lot of social regulation, nervous system regulation through the social environment. What can happen is if we get a lot of stress, I know that's happened to quite a few of us in the group over the last nearly 100 weeks. And that is what will happen is we'll start going into that dorsal vagal zone, which is the freeze response. And that's where we start getting depressed, dissociated. We start feeling numb and helpless. And that's really not a good place to be for a mammal, because that's really designed for reptiles to kind of shut everything down. So it's a last ditch defense of the nervous system. And I really want to emphasize that there's no shame in that. Often we feel shameful that we're not acting, that we're starting to shut down, but there's no fault there. That's just our nervous system doing its best to protect us. What we've been trying to do in the Wednesday classes is give you lots of techniques and support every week to try and get you down away from that blue zone, through the red zone, deactivating it down into the green zone. Okay, so I know we've got quite a few new people may not have even seen that chart yet. So just looking at that chart, I'm going to run our polyvagal poll and see which level, which one of these zones you're in. And this is the poll, which zone are you in poll? I'm going to share that now. So are you in the green, red, blue, or between the green and red, which is quite a popular place, or between the red and blue? And we'll find out and just see how we're doing. We've actually had some weeks when we've checked in on this, and we've actually managed to keep everyone in the green, mainly in the green and red zone. But let's just see what we do, what's happening now. So if you'd like to vote, we'll just see where we are. Okay, look, it looks like the Wednesday classes are still very much needed, because look, we've got nearly 2/3 of you are between the green and the red. So we really need to regulate you down there and keep you more in the green zone. And those of you, we've got quite a substantial number of you who are in the blue zone or between red and blue. And that's really important that we look after you and try and get you out of that dissociated state and down into the red zone. And I'm going to be making some suggestions as we go today, how we can do that. And a lot of it is the breathing, and we're in the lung section of this cycle. So we're going to be using some of the breathing techniques to help us regulate our nervous system. So thank you very much for voting for that. And really, my heart goes out to you, those of you who are in the red zone and the blue zone. It's not a comfortable place to be. I know I've been there myself many times. And I really rely on these type of shiatsu exercises and other things like this breathing exercise that we do in this class to help me keep as much as possible between the red and hopefully in the green zone as much as possible. I really, really sympathize there. So let's see what we can do to help each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off the scanning, and I'm going to just focus that very much on the red and the blue zone things. And well done, by the way, for the just 11% of you who are right in that green zone. Let's keep you there. Okay, so let's start off by doing the whole body scan. Now, when we're doing the whole body scan, if you think you're in the blue zone or you're going into the blue zone, what you need to look out for is for areas of numbness and areas that feel frozen in your body, because what we want to try and do is kind of energize those and integrate them back into your energy field so that you feel more complete and you're more awake and alive and kind of like shut down. And those of you who are more in the red zone, there's a lot of you out there who are right in the red zone or verging into the red zone. What usually happens because of the fight and flight is we start bracing ourselves because we're programmed to run away or to fight a predator. When that's an invisible virus, that's very difficult because we can't see it. And so we tend to get stress and tension in our bodies. So when we do the whole body scan, just check out, see if there's any areas that feel kind of numb or dissociated, and see if there are any areas that feel tense as if you're going into fight and flight. And then we can work with them. I'll run a poll and we can see whereabouts in the body most of us are finding that happening, and we can work on that specifically once we've done the burner scan. Okay, does that sound good? Okay, so let's do that. This is a really important exercise to do this at least once a week, is to do what's called focusing. It's like, we call it scanning, but it's essentially a focusing exercise. And the idea is just to check in with ourselves and just see what is happening in our whole body-mind system. So we're going to just scan through. We're going to stand comfortably and we're going to scan through our body, through our head, through our eyes, ears, mouth, throat, shoulders. Okay, and we're looking out for any areas that feel numb or blocked or kind of like frozen, or any areas that feel tense and held. Okay, so we're going to scan down through the shoulders. Okay, down through the torso. Down into the hips. And then down through into the feet. And don't forget going down through into the hands as well, and the arms. So we're scanning right around, a bit like a photocopier. Okay, now we're going to relax. We're just going to reflect on it. You may want to just close your eyes to go internally. That's what I like to do. Just go internally for a moment. Just see if there's anywhere where you feel you're kind of like in fight or flight, like tensing, or where you feel you're dissociated or numb, depending on whether you feel you're more in the red or the blue zone. Okay, excellent, well done. Okay, so now we're going to just draw that picture. And it's a bit of a surprise for me this week. It's a bit unusual for me. I'll show you in a minute what's happening to me. And I'm not quite sure why, but we'll probably find out as we go through. So you just kind of drawing, this is me this week. I'm much more in the upper heater than I normally am. Usually it's a middle heater that's like way ahead there. But we'll find out more when we do the heater scans. And we can find out which heaters we need to work on. And then I'm going to run the poll and find out where in the body you might feel the stiffness or the numbness or the weakness. Okay, so let's go through the heaters now. And for the 3 heaters scan, we need a piece of paper, which is divided into 3 for the lower, middle and upper heater. Okay, and as we go through today, I'm just going to explain some of the techniques that we can use for the red and the blue zone in each of the heaters. The 3 heaters is Chinese medicine category of 3 different areas in the body, which are really useful to work on our own internal energy using Qi Gong and stuff like that. So let's find out what's happening this week in the group in terms of the heaters. Here we go. I'm just going to stand and relax. And we're tuning into that lower heater. This is related to the adrenal system. It actually goes through here. I know it's a bit low for the actual adrenals, but there are embryonic facial connections through the back and into the adrenal system. So that's the explanation why this is related to the nervous system and adrenal system. But in Chinese medicine, this is the lower burner, the lower burning space. It's bound by the pelvic floor and it's below the navel and round here into the sacrum. Okay, so we're going to just close our eyes for a second and tune into that area and just see what's going on there. See what it's like. Okay, and we're going to draw that. Okay, and then we can go up to the middle heater. That's this one here, right around here, below the diaphragm and above the navel, through into the lower thoracic. Okay, closing our eyes again, checking into the middle heater. What is that like? Okay, good. And once you've got some information, some feeling about what's like there in the middle heater, we're just going to draw that. Okay. And then finally, we're going to go up into the upper heater. That's this lung and heart area here, above the diaphragm, right through into the thoracic spine, this whole area here. Okay. Very good. Okay. Tuning in, I'm going to close my eyes for a second and let's just sense what's going on in there. Okay. Turn that into an image and draw that into the third box. That's your upper heater. You can tell what's going on there. Okay, very interesting. Okay, so now we've got some information. We've got information from the whole body scan or the focusing scan. We've got the 3-burner scan. A bit of a surprise for me there because even though I felt this in the upper burner with the whole body scan, there was actually more going on as I got into more detail there. And I probably found the same when you did it yourself. Okay, so just a couple of polls now and then we can get started. Let's find out which burner is the most important for us to work on as a group today. I'm going to run the which burner would you like to work on most today poll. Okay, so have a look at your diagrams. I know what I would vote for. I'm not allowed to as a presenter, unfortunately. But let's just see what we're doing, how we're doing. Okay, thank you very much for voting. Anyone for more votes? And we'll just see how we're doing. Okay, now look at this. This is massive increase in upper burner voting. We've got over half of you voting for the upper burner this week, and that's a really big turnaround. The last couple of weeks it's been pretty much even, the lower burner and upper burner. So we've really got to work on mainly the upper burner as a group. Don't worry though, we'll work on the middle and lower burners as well. Okay, so now just one more question that I'd like so that we can target the exercises this week for you based on the polyvagal theory. You might feel it as a weakness or a blockage or a freezingness or whatever it is that you might feel, but let's just see if we can locate it a bit. So I'm going to run this poll. Whereabouts would you like to work? Where would you like to work? When you look at your whole body scan, is it mainly head and neck? Is it the arms, inside the upper body, lower body, or down in the hips, legs and torso? And we can get an idea of where that freeze and where that tension is as a group, where that's tending to hit us. Okay, look at this. We've got head, neck and shoulders way out there. And we've got inside the upper body as the second voting. So that's really clear information. So we better get working. Okay, so hopefully in the next 45 minutes we can really help each other and really help, especially those of you who are right in there in the red and the blue zone. Okay, so there's one very, very important thing with the breathing and the blue and the red zones, and that is if you're in the blue zone, you don't want to elongate the out breath. Normally when we do breathing exercises, we breathe in, we do a very long out breath, And that's designed to bring us from the red zone into the green zone. That's what happens in the nervous system. If you're in the blue zone, you've got to be careful with that because it can keep you up there in the blue zone. So my recommendation to those of you in the blue zone is try not to breathe out really slowly when we're doing the exercises. Keep the breath more or less the same, or if anything, emphasize the in-breath. So what we're going to do first of all, bearing that in mind, is we're going to do some shaking. This has two functions. If you're in the blue zone, what we're trying to do is activate the area. So we're going to tune to wherever you need. Because there's a lot of head and neck and upper body, I'm going to start off shaking the upper body. Okay. And if we're in the blue zone, what we want to do is we're gently shaking that area to bring life into the area and to unfreeze it. That's the image we have. So we want to bring some warmth into there and unfreeze it. Now, if we're in the red zone and we've got basically tension there, fight and flight tension, then it's a bit of a different emphasis. It's more releasing it and just allowing that to just kind of relax and release all the way down. Okay? So let's do some shaking and just adjust it depending on whether you're in the red or blue zone. And with breathing, if we're in the red zone, we want to elongate the out breath. But if we're in the blue zone, we want to emphasize the in breath. And what you'll find if you're in the blue zone and you do that, you emphasize the in breath, is it will slowly start to unfreeze those areas that you need to get the numbness out of. Okay, so let's just keep going with that. Okay, very good. Let's keep going. Let's get some of that shaking a little bit lower down into the lower burner and the middle burner, the lower part of the torso. Let's get everything joined up by shaking, releasing the arms, releasing the elbows, the knees, the wrists, and releasing the hips. Okay, very good. Okay, excellent work. Starting to feel a little bit more together and more released. And so now it's time to make sure that we've got our grounding really sorted out. Really important both for red and blue zones, because we want to regulate the whole nervous system down towards the green zone. Let's start off by rubbing the hands together. Placing the hands over the dantian, the lower dantian, that's just below the navel. And we're going to connect that up with the earth. We're opening up kidney 1. And we're going to relax and we're going to energize this area. Okay, now this is a self-regulating system. So if you need to get out of the blue zone, you want to activate this area. It's really important to get this really warm and relaxed. And if you're in the red zone, this will have a calming effect on the body. So it will tend to balance out whatever you need. It's so fundamental. So let's focus on that, relaxing the hips, rotating the hands around, sending the energy through the arms, through the hands and into the lower dantian. Okay, excellent. And we're going to float the head up. We're going to relax the jaw and start to get a connection through the whole central channels there between the lower burner and the middle and the middle and the upper burner, and up towards the upper dantian. So we're floating here up here, we're connecting with the earth, and we're rotating around the lower dantian to energize that. Okay, very good. Okay, excellent. It's got to be kidney 1 time, everyone. My favourite time of the week. I look forward to this all week, as I'm sure you probably do. And that's we really want to activate kidney 1, especially good for the red zone, by the way, because it increases the amount of yin in the body. But it's also important for the blue zone as well, because we need to tonify the kidney energy to get that really strong to root down the movements in the upper burners, okay? So let's make sure we know what kidney 1 is. It's 1/3 of the distance down through the centre of the foot. And we're going to really warm that up, tapping that. No Wednesday class will be complete without a good stimulation of kidney 1. Okay, now if you're in the blue zone, very important to hold this point here, kidney 3, because this tonifies the whole kidney Qi, including the kidney yang. So we're stimulating here and we're kind of pressing in there to energize that point there. What we'll do is we'll wake up the kidney channel, strengthen the lower burner, and then from there we'll start working more on the upper parts of the body. Okay. So although we often get the symptoms in the upper body with shiatsu and acupuncture and stuff like that, we tend to work what's called distal areas of the body. So if we've got problems up here, and we'll find more about that as we go through the meridian cycle through this whole year, we use distal points to basically bring the energy away from the head. And to do that, if you've got a lot of headaches and neck problems and things like that, it's a really good idea to start working the feet this way, because the yang channels run down the feet and into the toes. So what we're doing is we're working down here. For example, the stomach channel runs to this little toe here, and that's often involved in tension and in the jaw and headaches and things like that. And same goes for all of the toes, actually. They're all related to different channels, as we'll find out as we go through the year. We're going to track all of the channels right the way around the whole system of the body. Very good. Okay, excellent. So that's kidney 1 on my left foot. I'm going to put my sock on. It's a bit cold still today in Norwich. I'm taking my sock off. Okay, I'm going to hold this point here, kidney 3. That's the source point of the kidney meridian. Very important, especially if you're in the blue zone. Okay, and while you're doing it, I'm going to activate it. We're going to stretch this open a little bit to activate the kidney channel. Okay, and then we're going to stretch open the foot. Brilliant. Holding kidney 3. Doing a bit more of a tap. We want to activate this point here. Brilliant. Okay, excellent stuff. Now the big moment we've all been waiting for all week is to find out just how amazing kidney 1 is. And 2 things are going to happen here. Okay, if we stand now, what a lovely feeling that is. Can you feel that kidney 1 opening? Natural feeling of groundedness, kind of a more of a calm feeling. But if you're in the blue zone, you're going to feel that more energized feeling coming up from the earth, coming up. And that's the kidney yang, just what you need to unfreeze those parts of the body that's starting to go a bit numb. Okay, so there's 2 things that are really important. There's the grounding and there's also this activation of the kidney channel that we're going to work on a little bit more right now. Okay, so let's pick up the kidney channel from kidney 3, and we're going to tap that kidney channel. Okay, now if you're in the blue zone, what you're imagining here is you're imagining warmth coming up the channel, going into the lower burner, and then radiating up through your whole body, unfreezing any areas that you've got that's happening. A really useful thing to do. And once we get to here, we're going to go around and go down the bladder channel. That's related to the nervous system as well. Down the bladder channel, connects with the spine. And if you're in the red zone, really important to get that open and relaxed because that helps calm everything down, chill you out. Okay, so here we go. Let's activate the kidney channel. Round and down. Okay, and brushing off. Okay, excellent. Okay, let's see how we feel now. We're just tuning in. Okay, red zone people, you should feel starting to feel yourself grounding now, stronger in the lower burner and down. And those red zone people, you should feel some warmth coming up here into the lower dantian and starting to move up the body, which is just what we need. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do moving up is we need to work on the middle burner. And that's really important, especially for red zone people, because it's very typical for this area to get really tight, for the liver to get tight and the stomach to get tight, causing digestive problems, stuff like that. Okay, so here we go. We're going to work the middle burner, and we're going to use like a tapping technique. We're going to go around all the middle burner channels in a circuit. We're going to start off here with the stomach channel. While we're doing this, we're basically releasing and opening the middle burner. So we're going to go down the outside, and this is for basically anxiety. If you're in the red zone, you're feeling anxiety, or if you're in the blue zone, and it's kind of like what you're worried that's caused you to get there, then this is the stomach channel is related directly to that. So let's get that channel really nice and open. Again, if there's any freeze or any tightness in the channel, we want to just release that going. It's really the technique and choice for that. Down to start at 36. And then down, and then up. And then down. This is the earth element, and we'll be getting on to this next after we've done the lung and the large intestine. So we'll be getting on to these channels in March this year. Okay, now we're going to keep it going today. We're going to keep it going. We're going to go back up to here. Okay, shake out the legs, keep tapping. And we're going to go up here, liver. It's the liver area. And then round and down into the buttock area here. This is the gallbladder. Gallbladder. And then down the gallbladder channel. If you're in the red zone, I recommend you just stay here for a little bit, just below the outside of the knee. And the reason for that is because that's one of the strongest points for releasing the tendons. So any tension you've got, especially up in the upper body, really good place for that. And then we're going to go up the liver channel, which is in the middle of the inside of the leg. You're going to tap that liver, come back up, and just connect that again with the middle burner. Okay, we're going to go down the gallbladder. Up liver, down the gallbladder, stopping on gallbladder plate 4, and then down, and then up. Yay, okay, excellent, and then brushing off. Okay, checking in everyone. Okay, now, quite often this area will get tense if you're in the red zone, and if it starts to get really numb, that's a sign that you're going into the blue zone. So hopefully energizing this is going to release it or bring it back into life. So let's shake out a little bit, see where we're at so far. Okay, let's see. We've got kidney 1 open, Very nice, nice connection. Got the lower burner, nice and warm and activated. And now the middle burner is nicely freed up with the dough in. So let's just explore the freedom of that by just twisting, tuning into the middle burner, keeping the hips nice and square. So you get the twist there in the middle burner. And particularly if you're in the blue zone, you really want to get this area energized and try and move some of the numbness there. And if it's tense, again, it's really good to swivel it around and release it. Okay, excellent. Excellent work. Okay, now we get to the upper burner, by far the clearest burner. This, let's just check this, the polls. We've got just half of you voted for the upper burner. So that's going to be a really popular one today. So we're going to do a really thorough job of that. And again, because it's to do with the breathing, it's going to be connected to our meridian of the month and point of the week, which is going to come up in a moment. And the breathing is central to regulating the nervous system. It's the easiest way we can regulate our nervous system. Okay, so look, let's just experiment for a second. If we take a deep breath in, breathe out slowly. Once again, breathing in, breathing out slowly. See how that has a calming effect on the whole body. But if we do it the other way around and we emphasize the in-breath like this, one more time. You feel that's just subtly raising up the vibration of the body, it's just energizing ourselves, and that's the nervous system getting more activated. Okay, so blue zone people emphasize the in-breath, red zone people emphasize the out-breath as we do these exercises. Okay, tuning into the upper burner, there's two main things that can happen in the upper burner. It's either the breathing goes like this, and we end up like this, or the heart gets really tight and we go like that, and we get this type of constrictive feeling here. Okay, and Doing is really good for both of those things. So let's start off with working the pericardium and the heart channels. Really want this whole area to feel as open as we can, and we can test that by just stretching, doing this pericardium stretch, breathing in, breathing out, and stretching open like this. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay, now it's possible that if you're in the blue zone, you're going to have some numbness here, and you want to bring that to life. More likely, if you're in the red zone, you're going to feel tightness, and we've had a lot of that in the Shiatsu clinic the last few months, where we've got real tightness here. It's a lot, it's emotional, stuck in the channels here, and it's a really good idea to help the whole upper burner by just tapping and opening this area here. What I like to do is just get my knuckles like that in between the ribs and tap out along the ribs here towards the shoulder. Okay, and then when you're ready, we can go down the middle of the inside of the arm. And as we do it, let's just be sensitive to what's happening in this upper burner here. And if you notice any points or any areas that really need working, you can tap those a little bit more with some really good points around the elbows and the wrists. And then we can go around back up the outside of the arm. And then round onto the chest again. Okay, so we're going from the sternum out towards shoulder. Get down. And round again. Okay, creating a nice lot of space here using this channel. This is the pericardium channel. brushing off. Okay, that's excellent. Okay, here we go. On the other side, just tapping from the sternum. Let's see what that's like. Okay, sometimes this side is a little bit more blocked up because the heart's a little bit over on that side of the body. You might notice this is a little bit more sensitive if that's an issue for you. Just give you a bit of a close up here onto this area. So I'm working right around here. And I'm going down the middle of the inside of the arms. And then up the outside of the arms. To the top. And around again. Okay, triple heat is one of the yang channels that runs up into the head, right next to the eyes, and we'll be finding out more about that later in the year. Just brushing off. Okay, very good. So now let's just test again and see whether this stretch is any easier. We're breathing in, breathing out. Whoa, what a feeling of space. Can you feel that really start? Much easier to stretch back, and just so much more space there in the upper heater. It's really worth doing that if you're feeling a lot of emotional protection and it's starting to tighten up there. Okay, now we can go a little bit deeper into the heart channel. That's the one that starts under the armpit and goes down to the little finger. And that's a little bit more vulnerable than the pericardium, but we can still work with doing it. Just need to be a little bit more careful. And we can again check the channels by breathing in, breathing out, opening up the armpits like this, opening up the armpits, and gently stretching backwards. You'll feel a stretch into the armpit. That's the heart meridian. Another way of activating the channel is to bring our arms out, bring our little finger uppermost like this, kind of uppermost, and then we twist this way, and that twist goes right through into the armpit. It's another way of opening up the heart channel. So let's just do that. Little finger uppermost, breathing in, breathing out, and twisting round. Got it? Okay, so let's do a little bit of gentle dough in there on the heart channel. A little bit difficult to get right into heart one, so I like to just press with the tapping. So I like to just hold it, just gently pressing in. I'm pressing with my thumb right there. If I just go close up, I'm pressing in with my thumb and bringing my arm down, just opening that area up. That's a great point, heart one, right in the armpit there. And then we pick up the channel just here. It goes down to the elbow. This is heart three. Down into the little finger. Okay, so we're just doing some gentle tapping like this around the elbow, and then into the wrist, and then into this little bit of the finger there. It's a bit shy, the heart channel. It likes to be protected, so it goes inside and then it comes round, turns into the small intestine channel, which runs up here into the back of the arm and then up into the jaw. Okay, so we can pick it up here, heart one. This is a really calming point. It's great for also opening up the whole chest. So if you've got a lot of emotional stuff going on and you're feeling really stressed, you're getting any sort of palpitations or palpitations or tightness around here, working heart one can really help. You need to get the thumb right into the armpit like this, right into the armpit, and then press straight directly in. Okay, and then we can just tap down very gently down and into the arm. Okay, and the small intestine channel runs all the way back up into the shoulder and up into the neck. So one more time. Just going to press that lovely heart one, keep it really calm. And this is a good time to check in with kidney one, by the way. We'll find out more why later on in the year, but there's a connection between the kidney and the heart channel. It's really important for regulating the heartbeat through the adrenal system and the nervous system. But there is a connection there. So opening up kidney one while we're pressing heart one will give us a superpower calming feeling. And I think you can probably feel that just going into heart one, opening up kidney one, They're both yin tonifying points. So if you need to chill out, just in the week, connect up with kidney 1 and do this. No one will notice you're doing anything, and you can just instantly chill out, tonifying again. You go down the heart channel and then up the small intestine channel. Okay, let's try it again on the other arm. So that was a really good one. So opening up kidney 1, gently pressing into heart 1 right under the armpit, and you aim up towards the top of the shoulder. Nice easy breaths into the lower dantian. Okay, and if you feel those 3 points, you can feel kidney 1 on both sides and heart 1, you have got a super yin tonifying thing going on there. Super good for calming everything down and getting everything into kind of perspective there for you. And then we go down, heart meridian, down. Just going to give my heart 1 an extra special yin powered boost, and then tapping down. Okay, and then tapping. Okay, excellent. Here we go. Whoa, upper heater. What an upper heater workout we've got today. Okay, so let's just check in, make sure that kidney 1 is still open, make sure we're nice and relaxed in the hips, make sure the head's floating up. Just a nice easy low abdominal breaths. Okay, now can you feel that kind of calm connection right across here that's starting to connect downwards into dantian? That is what we're looking for, and that's only possible because we opened up this middle burner here. So just taking some nice breaths, nice even breaths. Everything's starting to flow much easier. Notice how the shoulders are relaxed as well. That's the small intestine channel for you, which leaves us plenty of time to work on the lung meridian. Okay. Now, the reason we need the lung meridian really working well is because we need that qi from the air to come in. And it starts off here in lung 1, and it goes down, right down the arm to point of the week, which is lung 9. So I'm just going to run the last few slides, last few week slides past you. We've got lung 1 there, which we did a couple of weeks ago. Regulates and descends the lung key. That's going to be important in a second. And then we went into lung 5, tonifies the lungs, expands and releases the chest. Really good stuff. And then we've got lung 9 here, which tonifies the lung key and the yin. So again, it kind of calms and moistens the lungs. It's used mainly for cough and asthma and things like that. But it's also related to treating grief as well. And that's really important because the lung meridian is directly related to grief in Chinese medicine. You can see that what happens to us when we're sad, when we're grieving. And there's a lot of that going on at the moment with the pandemic. The tendency is for the shoulders to hollow out like this. Our posture tends to get affected like this and down like this. And that will contribute to the feeling of everything shutting down and that feeling of being isolated. We can really help that in ourselves by opening up the lung channel, which gives naturally a feeling of positivity and an ability to cope with any grief that we're dealing with. So the lung channel is really important at the moment. It works really well on the red and the blue zone. So let's do it. Okay. So let's first of all start off with lung 1. That's the one that descends and tonifies the lung qi. So what that means is that if we concentrate on our feet here, we tap here and we do some nice even deep breaths. What you'll find is as you breathe out, it's really easy for the breath to sink down through the body. Okay, so let's just try that again. Notice that when you exhale, the breath just kind of slides down and everything is cool. Rather than going like this or like that. Okay, and this is the power of lung 1. It really is a great point for that, and we use it all the time in Shiatsu. If you ever come into the Shiatsu Center and you've had any lung things going on, you will remember us working this big time. Okay, so now we're going to go down the arm, and we're going to just concentrate here on lung 5. This is the one that expands the chest, and you'll notice again if we just tonify here, this point, by just tapping, and again take some deep breaths in. Notice how easy it is to open up the chest. And if we go down further and we get to lung 9, I'm just going to tap that very gently here, right on the wrist. This is the point of the week, lung 9. Okay, which is really good for tonifying the lung chi and also for the emotional aspects of the lungs, which is the feeling of grief or loss. We're going to tap that, we're going to open up the whole channel right the way down and then down onto the thumb. I'm just going to give that a little bit of squeeze around the thumb, just some self shiatsu here, all around here from the wrist. This is lung 9, it goes into lung 10 and then lung 11. I'm just doing a bit of self shiatsu there, and then what happens is the channel goes off like this and comes back and goes up this way, which is the large intestine, which will be our meridian of the month for February. Looking forward to that one, and we'll chart that all the way up into the head when we do that in February. Okay, so here we go. Let's get those feet firmly planted on the earth. Feel that nice centering in the lower burner. Okay, release the middle burner, and then we're going to breathe in. Okay, breathe out. Okay, don't forget to adapt it depending on whether you want to be get out of the red or the blue zones. Okay, so just to remind you, if you're in the blue zone, emphasize the in-breath while tapping here. Okay, and if you're in the blue zone, the red zone, you want to chill out. So it's okay, got it? So if you just regulate that, this would be really, really good for getting you either out of the blue zone or the red zone. So here we go, we go down, onto the thumb, and then back up. One more time. I'm just making some sounds here. And then down, lung 5. Lung 9, and then large intestine channel all the way up. Awesome. Okay, and brushing off. Okay, that's really good. So let's do the other side. Don't forget the lower burner, and don't forget that kidney one connecting into the earth. We're going to tap here around lung 1 and 2. That's all around the front of the shoulder here. Just holding the shoulder out slightly to really get in there. Tapping down, working on lung 5, the elbow, and round, and then up the large intestine channel. Coughing is good. Go down. Lung 5, 9 and 10, and then back up. Okay, one more. Okay, so let's just really feel that lung chi descending here. Nice easy breaths. Stretching out. Okay, I'm just stretching out a little bit just to stretch that upper thoracic there. And then round and down. Lung 5. 9 and 10, and then up. Brilliant. Okay, a moment of truth now. Let's keep those feet firmly planted on the ground. We're thinking of the chi going down towards the center of the earth. We've got a nice stable lower hara, lower dantian. We've got a nice open middle burner. Now let's try that breathing in thing. Okay, so we're going to breathe in. Oh, super smooth. Okay, can you feel that open here, tingling down the arms? The whole upper burner is just really nicely energized. And the main thing is the breath is just really freely coming in. and breathing out. Wow, okay, that's really good. Hopefully upper burners will be transformed now. So now we've just got about 5 or 10 minutes left, and it's really important just to clear out those yang channels. I think I'm going to do it in a standing position here this week. So we're going to just tap around the forehead, over the top of the head, and down the back of the leg, down the back of the neck. Okay, this is the bladder channel. This is the one that goes all the way down to the little toe. It's a really long one, but we'll get onto that later in the year. Okay, sides of the head. I'm just tapping the sides of the head. This is the gallbladder and triple heater channels. Down onto the back of the sides of the neck. Brilliant. Okay, and now let's just do some face stuff. Make sure that the face is released. We can just wipe here, rub around here, and then gently pressing across the eyes like this. Nice and relaxed. I'm just gently pressing into the eyes here. Okay, rubbing here. And we're pressing around, pressing down the ears, relaxing the jaw. Okay, now here's some important points here. This is large intestine 20, welcome smell. It's called welcome smell. For obvious reasons, it welcomes the smell into the lungs. So if we're going to do some breathing stuff, you'll find that just pressing in here and breathing in, you can feel it affecting all the sinuses. And we'll get onto that in more detail next month in February. And we're going to go around here, just pressing around here. There's some important stomach points right here underneath the eyes there. We'll be getting onto those pretty soon too. Okay, just to remind you, this year we're going on an epic journey around the 12 meridians. Each month we'll do a different meridian, and we're going to find out how they link up through the body, through the head and the chest and the arms. And at the end of this year, we're going to do a triumphant circuit around the meridians because we'll know where all of them are, what they do and where they go. So really looking forward to that. I like that kind of thing. A whole year, it's going to be amazing. So it's going to go squeezing down here. This is where the large intestine channel runs, actually in the stomach channel run in the neck. And we're going to find out in the next 2 months how the large intestine and stomach channels are related embryologically and how they're connected. And also find out why the large intestine really is on the arm. Have you ever wondered why that is? I mean, surely the intestines are down there. Okay, all will be revealed in the next couple of months. Okay, so we're going to squeeze down the back of the neck. I'm a little bit nervous about turning around because I have been doing my own COVID haircut and I don't really know what it looks like at the back. So I can't see behind. I was actually shaving it this morning and I really don't know what kind of line is going on behind there, but you're going to have to find out. And I just apologize for any waviness in my haircut. It's just because I don't want to go in to the hairdressers at the moment. So I've been shaving it myself. So we can just tap down here and we can squeeze down the back of the neck. Tapping is also pretty good as well if you get any real stiffness there. We've got gallbladder, we've got small intestine. This is the small intestine channel here, just in case you're wondering. It's right at the back of the SCM muscle. So it's really good just to get all those ion channels stretched out as much as you can with some pressure. Okay. Excellent. It's a bit of a wiping, but pulling the ears. Brilliant. Okay, now all the yang channels start and end on the head, so we will find out over the next year. And they also a lot of them go down through onto the shoulders as well. So we'll better just release the shoulders, work on the back, and then we'll be done. I would recommend, this is just a bit shaking out, recommend either holding your arm or doing it like this. And we're going to tap all around the top of the shoulders, try and get round to the neck. The neck here. Okay, very good. And then we're just going to brush off down the arms. And now you notice you probably release, especially if you're in the red zone, and if you've started to release stuff here, you probably feel all kinds of things happening in your head and neck. This is a great technique to get them shaking them out. So we're just shaking out like this, opening up the jaw. Okay, excellent. Brushing off down the sides. And just finally, let's see if we can get to our bladder channel. If there's two of you, you're really lucky because you can help each other by tapping either side of the spine. If you're on your own, like me, what we'll have to do together is just tap down as far as we can. So I'm tapping down as far as we can. Okay, and then going as far as I can up. And then down onto the sacrum, and then down back to the legs. Okay, the main thing is just to stretch the back open here. It's really difficult to get right up here, isn't it? I mean, it depends how flexible you are, but I can just about get there, working the back. Okay, excellent. Very good. Okay, excellent. So let's put it all together, do some breathing exercises, and just see how we've got. Okay, we had a lot of people in the red and the blue zone, and my heart really goes out to you. I know exactly what that's like, especially the blue zone. That's something we really want to look after you, especially if you're stuck in the red or the blue zone. And I would really encourage you, if you are, especially in the blue zone, you really need to get some help from a therapist. If you're near the Shiatsu Centre, please book in and get an appointment here. If you're somewhere else, another country, find someone who can help you by doing some body work with you, because it's not a nice place to be. Hopefully today's really, really helped and helped us all kind of regulate ourselves for another week. So let's put it all together by opening up the kidney one. We're going to float our head up. We're going to connect with heaven and earth. We imagine the air and all the energy of heavens above us. We imagine the earth down below. And we're just going to do this simple breathing exercise from Tai Chi. And we're going to do it energetically by connecting with the earth. Okay, so relaxing, tuning into our spine, floating that head up. Okay. Nice, easy breaths into the lower dantian. Open up kidney one. And then nice, easy breath in. Okay, and then we're going to float up. Okay, connecting with kidney one, thinking down deep into the earth, breathing in. Okay, and we're going to push up from the earth. Feel the connection deep as you can down into the earth. Open up kidney one, imagine a root going down to the center of the earth, breathing in. And then push up from that root. Excellent. One more, just connecting down through the soles of the feet, down to the center of the earth. Breathing out. Floating that head up. Breathing in, and floating down, and floating the head up. Breathing in and breathing out, floating up, putting it all together, sinking down to the earth, floating the head up. Okay, one more, putting it all together, breathing in and breathing out. Okay, thank you very much for today. Thank you very much, Basti, for looking after the chat. It's 11 o'clock, we've got to finish up. Great session, thank you so much. Really hope that's helped, and let's really look after you. There's a lot of you out there that need help. very happy to be able to help you with the Wednesday class, and I'm really happy to help myself too. I really needed it this week. Wonderful session. Thank you so much. And we will see you next Wednesday. Tell all your friends. I noticed we had 70 people today. That's absolutely awesome. I think that's a record. See you next week.